Hi there and welcome to this video on suppliers and customers in QuickBooks Online. My name is Tom Belton and I'm a cloud accounting specialist for PJCO accountants. So in this video, we're going to be running through setting up suppliers and customers, where to find them after they've been set up, and what you can view once they are set up in your account. So if we start with suppliers, there are a couple of ways that we can set them up. We can either go directly to expenses and suppliers and set them up in here. This is where you'll be able to see any suppliers that have already been created. Or sometimes the easiest way to set up your suppliers is if you're using Receipt Snap or the banking tab. So if you've got a receipt in here, you can click into the receipt and you'll see that the payee box, it will sometimes be pre-populated, but if it isn't, you can type in your supplier. So if I started typing in Asda, we'll see that they're already in here as a supplier, but if they weren't, we'd get the option to add a new supplier in here, and this gives us the option to just save them there. So that is one way that you can get a supplier in there, and you can do exactly the same through the banking section of the banking tab. So let's say we wanted to set up PJCO as a supplier. If I start typing in PJCO, there's nothing in there at the moment. So if I click Add PJCO, we can say type a supplier, and this details box here will give us the option to add as much information as we'd like to about our supplier. So email address might be helpful if you're sending purchase orders or anything like that from QuickBooks. So once you've got that in there, you can click Save. And if I click Save now, PJCO will always appear as a supplier, and you can select them from the drop-down arrow in here, and you can click Add on your transaction once you're happy with it. So now that they've been created, we can come to expenses and suppliers, and we'll now see PJCO in this list as well. But if we wanted to view suppliers, we just click into the account, and there we'll have all transactions by the supplier. So once you start to build up transactions in your account, and if you've got frequent suppliers, this will be a really helpful place to come to see all of the transactions by the accounts. So that's the suppliers done. So if we move on to customers now, customers do sometimes require a bit more detail in setting up, normally if you're raising invoices through QuickBooks. So there's one thing that you can do is to go to the Sales and Customers tab. And in here, we'll see when we're first getting set up, we've got an option to import customers if you're bringing your customers across from another software or a spreadsheet that you've got set up at the moment. But for now, we're going to add a customer manually. So if I click on Add Customer Manually, we can start typing in the first name. So if I just put my name in here, for example, anything I put in here is going to pull into the display name. And then if I put my email address in there as well, this will all pull through onto different invoices that I then raise for this customer. One thing to note is if you are CIS registered, CIS will be turned on in your accounts and settings by going to the cog in the top right-hand corner, accounts and settings, and then navigating to find CIS. Once that's set up, you'll have an option in this customer setup to say whether they are a subcontractor or not. And if they are, you'll then be able to tick that box and say that you can then contract for them with CIS, and you'll be able to apply CIS to your invoices. So that's also a similar thing with foreign currency. If this customer is going to be based in foreign currency, you'll have multi-currency enabled through the accounts and settings, and this is where you'll select the currency for your customer. So I'm happy with all of this apart from the billing address. I'll just put our billing address in there, and we will then be able to raise invoices directly through this customer's account. So if I put all of the address in there, and then once we're happy with this, I'll click Save, and now it takes me directly into the customer account, and we've got the option to raise a new transaction directly through here. So if I raise a new invoice, anything I've put in the customer detail section will automatically populate onto here. So that's a really good way to set up your customers. Again, with the suppliers, you do get the option to do this through the banking tab. So say, for example, you've received money here. If I click into this and start typing in the customer name, you do get the option to add them in here as well and add their details. However, this is going to be less frequent, especially if you're sending invoices. as the invoice would have been created beforehand, so you would have needed to create the customer before the bank transaction's in place. But once that's all set up, you can come to sales and customers. With the sales tab, there's lots of different options. So if I went to all sales now, we're not going to see anything in there at the moment, but this will track any invoices or sales receipts we've got in there. But the customers section will break each individual customer down, and it will show you every transaction in their account as well. Once the customer's set up, if you ever wanted to edit it, you get that option up here. And something that quite commonly happens is you end up with two customers with slightly different names. And if you needed to merge a customer, the easiest way to do it is come into one of the customer accounts, click on edit, and change this display name to exactly the same as the other customer. When you do that, you can click save, and it will pop up with a message asking you if you wanted to merge the customers together. That will put all of the transactions for two customers together, and you'll just be left with one account. So that's the suppliers and customers covered. Please do get in contact with me at tom@peterjarman.com if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.